We come to week 5 in our series on the crystallization study of Jeremiah and Lamentations. This week, we see the matter of God's sovereignty. Now, sovereignty is not a word commonly used in the vernacular, but it refers to God's absolute authority and power over everything. This thought is seen in the book of Jeremiah, where the tender-hearted prophet had a disagreement with God over his people. Jeremiah felt that God was being too harsh in his chastisement over Israel. So, in chapter 18, God told Jeremiah to go down to the potter's house, where he saw the potter making a vessel out of clay, and then it spoiled in the potter's hand, so the potter reworked it into another vessel. Then Jehovah said in verse 6, "Am I not able to do with you, O house of Israel, as this potter does, declares Jehovah? Indeed, as the clay is in the hand of the potter, so you are in my hand, O house of Israel." The first principle we see here is that as the potter, God has absolute right over his people. When Jeremiah realized this, it changed his whole view and perspective. Similarly, we too need a vision of God's sovereignty. We must see that he is the potter and we are the clay. The Apostle Paul must have been inspired by Jeremiah when he wrote the book of Romans, because in chapter 9, he says in verse 21, "Or does not the potter have authority over the clay, to make out of the same lump one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?" In chapter 9, Paul used two negative examples from the Old Testament that illustrate God's sovereignty: Pharaoh and Esau. In both these cases, God hardened one and rejected the other. Why did God choose Jacob over Esau? God even said, "Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated." We may not always agree with God's choice, but we also should not question him, because God is the creator and we are the creature. In Romans 9:20, it says, "But rather, O man, who are you to answer back to God? Shall the thing molded say to him who molded it, 'Why did you make me thus?'" We may want an explanation, but God could answer, "I am Jehovah. I don't need one." As the potter, God has the absolute right over us to do whatever he likes. So instead of questioning him, we should thank and praise him for selecting us and having mercy on us. We were created by God as vessels of mercy to contain and express him. 2 Corinthians 4:7 says, "But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not out of us." Consider this light bulb. It is a peculiar container designed for a particular use. A light bulb is made to contain electricity and nothing else. If we try to put anything else in this light bulb, it would be utterly meaningless. Similarly, we were made to contain God as our content and nothing else. If we try to fill our being with anything else other than God, it would be a senseless contradiction. Solomon the king realized this fact and famously declared in Ecclesiastes, "I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed, all is vanity and a chasing after wind." In the New Testament, Paul was a chosen vessel by God to bear the Lord's name to the Jews and Gentiles. As he was on the way to Damascus, the Lord struck him down and asked him, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" Paul answered with two questions. "Who are you, Lord? And what shall I do, Lord?" This shows that Paul recognized God as the authority, and he became completely emptied of everything he thought he knew. We also need to be vessels continually emptied so that the Lord can fill us with himself. Luke 1:53 says, "The hungry he has filled with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty." With the matter of God's selection, it has nothing to do with what we have or can do for God. It is only because of his mercy that we are here today. Romans 9:16 says, "So then, it is not of him who wills, nor of him who runs, but of God who shows mercy." Because of the fall of man, we became pitiful and in a deadened state. This is why we need God's mercy to reach us before we can be in a condition to receive his love and grace. We have nothing to boast of in ourselves. It is altogether a matter of God's sovereign mercy that we can be saved and we can be here enjoying the church life. We should thank him for his mercy and turn our hearts to him and praise him for what he has done for us. Eventually, God will make us into vessels of honor and glory so that we can be for his glorious expression and manifestation. Romans 9:23 says, "In order that he might make known the riches of his glory upon vessels of mercy, which he had prepared before unto glory." So how should we respond to this word? We should thank and praise him for his sovereign mercy and for creating us as vessels of mercy to contain him. I hope that many can follow by sharing their experience and enjoyment of God as the sovereign potter, making us vessels to contain him.